Welcome to the Degenerate Nation podcast. I'm here with Charles Hades, and we are so fucked. Right? Everyone wants to scream right now, like the Michael Jackson video with his sister. What's going on in your head right now, man?
Well, it really depends what year you're asking me. In terms of politics, we're in this very sensitive time where we have this great political divide, and we have a divisor in the White House.
A divider in chief, except this time he's more active of a divider with his language than the previous divider in chief.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
There's a difference between words inciting things and your actions being poor policy, and it's just I didn't particularly care for a lot of things Obama did. I wasn't super educated during that period of what was going on, but this has just been one shit show after another. And I mean, I'm not blaming coronavirus and police brutality on the president's tweets and stuff like that, but his demeanor really doesn't help either.
No, it's he always backpedals after he tweets something very controversial, and he's able to wiggle out because his base, like he once said, I could shoot and kill somebody on Fifth Avenue and still get elected. And most of them would. In my opinion.
Yeah. What? Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not talking. Let's forget about the NRA or anything like that would come to pass.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here in Michigan, and we had protests at the Capitol with people holding guns and
peaceful.
The same thing happened. Yeah. Well, that's because the police are not firing tear gas.
No.
Amongst the crowd to disperse them.
No, not with a crowd that has guns. I think it would be proper, but it's not smart because they have guns. So what's the lesson? Bring guns? Guns to a tear gas fight? To a gas fight?
Well, the cops have their orders, and usually when they're expecting a bigger thing, like I was telling you earlier before we begin this podcast, since people are much more political on both the coast versus middle America, we've got a real problem of a disconnect in this country.
Oh,
we
huge.
Really do.
Huge.
Without videos, the last two major incidences, the last two outrages, where one man is jogging and is hunted down essentially and killed, and another is broad daylight, got his knee right on his neck, and average Joe Blow is sitting there. What are you doing? Stop that!
Yeah.
He can't breathe, dude.
Right.
People on the sidewalk are begging him to breathe. And
why didn't they try to take on the cop? I mean, I'm not saying what I would have done in this situation, but it's easy to insert yourself into that. But filming is great, but why not also one of you guys jump at hey, let him up? No one wants to get arrested themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
That's always the threat.
Yeah.
That is always the threat. And that's part of the reason why we're living in a police state.
Yeah, obstruction of justice means more to them than the life that they could have potentially saved.
Well, the problem is this: is you have a lot of corruption within police forces, and this is true of most large cities. Minneapolis not being excluded.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a reason why that third precinct was set on fire. It's symbolic. It's symbolic. Now, I may not agree with the tactics of some of the demonstrators I do not condone looting.
Yeah,
looting
Target. What did Target do? That company gives back to the community, right? And the same thing with I understand if you set the place on fire that got him in trouble for the counterfeit bill that he probably didn't even realize he had. I'll be honest, I had counterfeit money, $200 that I didn't realize was counterfeit, that I took from a scalper when I sold my ticket last year. And what happened was I just went to the bank to put the money in, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna have to take this. Like, I was like, excuse me? And they're like, it's not real. And they showed me to me instead of like calling the police. It was like they showed me the
20s?
difference. What's that?
Were they 20?
No, 200s.
Oh man.
Yeah, and what tipped them off? Oh, they were different. Like I actually was like, this is embarrassing, but one reason I didn't know is because, like, first off, how often do you check your money? And second, like, I don't get a lot of hundreds. I was like, I had no idea. But then, like, when I heard the story and why he was being detained in the first place, I was like, well, that could have been me easily.
Well,
no, but not in a way.
That's one of those things. I worked retail, and I had some guy try to pass $100 bill that had Lincoln's face on it. Okay.
What was that? The record store?
No, this was at a movie theater in Berkeley, California.
Was he trying to buy tickets or like fucking popcorn and shit? Either way, it's just a weird.
He was trying to do the change game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why go to a movie theater? Because there's a teenager, usually.
No, it was a grown ass man.
No, because like you're dealing with younger people that are working there usually, and he's like, he probably gives up to. He's like, oh shit, too late.
Well, I called my manager in order to pull it off. I just figured if I kept it, he was gonna raise some hell.
Yeah.
And he was gonna come right through the booth and get at his fake money. But whatever. There's video of that contradicts the police narrative on resisting arrest.
Yeah.
From the dash cam.
Right.
They just went in and grabbed him out of his vehicle. He opens the door. There's the conversation, and two of them sit there and grab it
for fake money during a fucking pandemic. What the hell?
Right.
Like, let it go.
Right.
Hand him a citation. Get his license and address.
Well, police get promoted per arrest. Forgery. Yeah. We're talking. The Secret Service gets involved.
Yeah.
You might get a promotion. Hey, I might get to go to the FBI Academy. Blah blah blah. If I go to law school, if I get a few attaboys.
Well, you got a few attaboys in the form of getting away with shootings in the past. So there's his attaboy again.
Well, 2006 there was a death. I don't have the details of it, but Amy Klobuchar was the frickin' prosecutor at that time. And here's the problem: it could be any prosecutor. It doesn't matter who it is.
Mm-hmm.
They have to work with with the police. There's an instant reluctance within the system for it to check itself.
Right. Any system, and especially justice.
Well, we talk about the checks and balances and freedoms and whatnot, but the reality really boils down to this: is who you know. I lived in Athens, Georgia for like 7 years.
Yeah.
This asshole in his truck, who's fucked up on all kinds of alcohol and all kinds of drugs, plows in to the record store that I helped start as a clerk. And he breaks the hell out of the window and all kinds of other shit. Because his daddy is, he walks away from it.
What, did they just pay damages?
What damages?
The windows and stuff?
What damages? Meaning, no, they didn't pay shit.
What? They didn't even have to do, like, a community service or something? Like, that's so stupid.
There was no arrest.
This guy, who was his daddy? Who is his daddy?
Who knows? The current governor is from Athens, Georgia.
Of Michigan?
Brian Kemp.
Oh, of Georgia?
No, Brian Kemp.
Yeah.
Yeah, Athens is a corrupt little town.
Well, it's a college town. Most of those towns are rather corrupt, I'd imagine.
Well, I had a friend who was on the Detroit police force, and he basically told me,
wow,
if you weren't on the take, you were the odd man out. My friend Don winds up quitting the Detroit police force when his partner is so high on heroin he can't open the car door of the squad car.
Huh. Dude, I'm quick sidebar that relates to that actually though. Writing a script, like a new script that's actually like a crime story, and in a flashback scene, the main character loses his job in the police force because he was drunk or high and in his like nondescript non-police car, like when they're doing a stakeout. But it was watching for a witness to protect the witness, right? Being the outside guy for the witness protection thing, and he just falls asleep, wasted, and the witness and their family get fucking shot up, and so he loses his job. So like, yeah, this is intense. Like, but it was hard to think of something because I don't have a lot of experience with like even watching that many crime dramas and certainly being in one. And so it was a good challenge, right? And it's interesting that you bring up a guy that was corrupt himself and had a problem. And what, did anything happen to him? The heroin guy?
I don't know. My friend quit the police.
Oh, yeah.
So
good for him, man.
I can't be around.
What did he get into after that?
He's from a family of cops.
Oh, wow. So you think he got, like, in some way pressure to be in there, or internal pressure or something to be a cop, and it just, he had some idealism about it, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, Don was a good guy when it came down to it.
Yeah,
I mean,
most of them aren't, like, as fucked up as what's happened, but it doesn't matter. If some of them are, the perception is going to be that all of them are.
Well, here's the problem. We have a systemic problem when it comes to when it comes to race relations in this country,
especially between the police and the citizens.
Yeah. Well, trust is lost. Why? Because we've seen video time and time again with the police getting away with murder.
Right.
Oh, the one in Oklahoma where they had the flyover going on, and the guy went to go to his vehicle, I don't know if he didn't have his wallet on him or what, and they just shot him on the spot.
For what?
I don't know.
The fuck, man.
There was another case where this African American guy has somebody break up into his house, and he's out on the front porch waiting for the cops. Cop rolls up, and 10 seconds later, the cop shoots the owner of the house, and he's dead. I mean, this is what kind of trigger-happy, rootin' tootin' kind of cowboys we got in police forces around the country.
And in militarized police forces, increasingly militarized police forces.
Well, yeah, all that stuff that donate.
Speak up.
It's been.
Oh, there you go.
All that stuff has been donated.
Yeah, by the military.
Right. Donated. Not paid for by the local police. Here's the reason why police are the way they are in the first place. Only 60% of our taxes go to pay their fees. The rest of it they have to make up in tickets. Why? Because that gives them a motive to do their job instead of sitting in some coffee shop.
Right.
Sipping on some coffee and eating some donuts. Like, good old officer, Tommy Green did back in the day when, it was the Irish who were taking the police jobs because nobody else wanted to do the job. Right?
Yeah.
And
honestly, it's an awful job.
Yeah, it's thankless.
It's not awful as in it's worthless. It's thankless. Like teaching is. See, teaching doesn't pay enough either, but as much as it should. And I'll get to the police salary in a minute, but like teachers need to get paid more so we elevate the level of respect for them. And I think that parents are finally figuring out to an extent. They may have already appreciated teachers, but they're like, I can't do this while I'm working too. I have to fucking teach my kid. Like, you teach my kid. You take my kid. Please take my kid. And with police, do you think that a higher standards, that come with a higher salary level and more accountability, like eliminating some of the union stuff and firing the bottom 10% every couple of years, do you think that type of system would help, or would it just be irrelevant and we're spending more money on assholes?
It's number one. It's a boys' club.
Yeah.
It's a big fraternity. Women just happen to be represented here and there. My friend, she worked in evidence in Oakland Police Department. She wouldn't go out on the street because she didn't want to get hardened.
Yeah.
She would hear all kinds of stories like officers pimping out teenage girls.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, like we said before, this is what happens in different cities.
Yeah, different cities every place is different.
Think about what it might be going on in Miami in terms of pimping.
Yeah, more people that are from other countries are there, and it's bad. In my area, there's actually a lot of, I don't think it's cop related, but a lot of sex trafficking to, like, a lot of times it's younger women to Middle Eastern and Eastern European people.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's not that common amongst like blacks and whites and Asians and Hispanics. I mean, at least if you find some data points, listener or whatever, to prove me wrong, then prove me wrong. But that's just my uninformed hunch. about an awful,
Well,
awful topic.
I think that's regional, and
Yeah.
that's another topic in general.
Yeah.
I was just talking about, systemic corruption.
Corruption,
and
yeah.
stuff
Police
like
corruption, yeah.
Now, I read a statistic about how many unarmed killings there were in 2018, and that was 998
Of police versus
citizens.
police
who were
on
unarmed.
citizens? Police on citizens or citizens on citizens and police on citizens?
No, police on citizens.
Jesus, man.
Unarmed
1,000 almost? That's
citizens.
ridiculous.
And the next year it went up to 1,008.
Well, it's going to go down this year.
By 10.
Unless the riots get
Well,
crazy because of the 2.5, 3 months where we've been quarantined. And they're like, look, the stats aren't that bad.
part
Here's some
of it
more
is-
weapons.
Well, right, exactly. A few years ago when I was out in Reno, I was told by a nurse that they had been asking members of the military under XYZ conditions, would you be willing to fire upon the American people?
I mean, how do they imply that their jobs are at risk if they say no?
That wasn't known. It was just an interview.
Oh, did they come up with a figure?
Oh, well, no. I think this was in terms of just basic crowd control.
Yeah.
Whether they think, the Pentagon thinks that there's going to be lawlessness because of unemployment.
Yeah. There's just not going to be, because I just don't think enough of the country. There's only so many younger people that are willing to go set fires and shit like that. Oh fuck, dude! I got the CNN on behind me and some shit's going down in Minneapolis as I'm saying that people aren't going to be willing to do this. It's just like the scale in which that you have to scale up these operations, if you will, these protests, these riots, are so massive to actually move the needle that I feel almost sad for the people that are trying to do something.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, the militarized police, dude. It's what are you going to do against that? And the government that just doesn't care. The government has never cared about the common people. It's a myth. Obama didn't.
Yeah.
Bush didn't. Trump doesn't pretend to anymore. He did in his campaign,
Right.
but doesn't pretend to anymore.
Well, corruption is right out in the open now.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's just a lollipop. Okay, I'll take the lollipop. Give me the $200,000 you promised me, and I'll vote this way.
Yeah.
No, they had a freshman congressman talking about one of the senior congressmen telling him how to vote to get the check.
Was it AOC?
No.
She knows how to vote to get no jobs in her home area by scaring Amazon away.
Well, Amazon scared themselves away.
How's that?
Because they wanted guaranteed unions there.
Oh, okay. Isn't
Yeah.
AOC for unions?
She is.
Then why did she turn them away?
No. That was part of the deal. Amazon bought.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I think you misspoke, and I misheard. Yeah, of course
Right.
they balked, because they're only using people at $15 an hour. They were like, okay, yeah, we'll give you that. They were talked into it, but they have a master plan, and they're gonna use robots. Everyone's gonna use robots. None of this matters. I don't know why you're still listening. None of this matters. This shit is just unreal, though. What was the point of an 8 o'clock curfew? Who's gonna be scared by a curfew?
Nobody.
Right? I think if anything, it
it's the
incites
same
more.
thing. It's the same thing of people going out without masks on. I mean, there's a lot of those protesters you look at on there, and they've got N95 masks
Yeah,
on.
they do, actually. I'm impressed
They
by
have
it.
bandanas. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's still consciousness going on, and they're not, like, fighting amongst each other.
And as a bonus, the
whatever.
facial recognition software can't get them.
Not necessarily.
Oh, it could get their eyes and their nose bridge?
Yes.
That's fucked up, man. Fucked up.
Well, that stuff is... Well, I mean, there's still a bunch of false positives.
Yeah.
You know, they use those... That's the problem. They use... I mean, the most advanced AI in the world is used in China.
Of course, because they stole it from America. They stole
Maybe
enough
they
of
gave-
it, yeah, and then they improved upon it. That's what they do. And they have
This is like in...
the courage
this
or
is
the
what-
evilness to actually go ahead and use it and get for social scoring and stuff. That's Black Mirror shit, man. It's just bad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'll have to say, go ahead. Sorry, I'll
I can't...
jump in afterwards.
How do you like my Jufro, by the way?
It's pretty good. You have good hair, man. Mine, I have perpetual bedhead that just like sticks up because I don't do anything with it. Even when I take a shower, it just settles that way, and I'm fine with it. But yours is nice, man. You gotta put some product in it and just be like, keep it all curled. So I'm gonna go out.
This is on its own. All I used was shampoo and conditioner.
Nice. 2-in-1?
No.
Oh, it's all about separating that shit. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So,
Exactly.
do you still think America is one of the better countries in the world despite our internal issues? Because I feel like from my perspective, all these companies, except the obviously flawless Vietnam, where some of our listeners are, have massive flaws. And if they don't seem to have massive flaws, you have to put an asterisk by it because they don't have 300 plus million people. They have 10 million homogenous mostly people. That's a much easier country to deal with. Other systems of government can work better there because there's less people.
Like Norway.
Exactly. Norway, Denmark, Finland, those ones who are mostly one ethnicity. It's changing, obviously, because people want to go to the nice countries. Case in point, the immigration in America that's been here since forever because people have wanted to go for the supposed American dream. Whether that's a fallacy or not these days is irrelevant. People still will go for it because they're trying to escape something else to go for something that's perceived to be better. We're still perceived to be better despite everyone's complaints, right?
Well, the native complaints because of the comforts, are more belly aches than they are, reality. I mean, we don't even, we have posturing and other things like that by politicians, why in some countries they start throwing down on the Congress floor.
Yeah, like the fucking
Shaking the
Roman
shit.
Senate, right? Et tu, Brute,
Yeah.
cut.
Yep, that's right.
Like we have
That's right.
civilized, uncivil discord here. It's like we have garbage tweets and garbage responses to those tweets. You have Trump saying whatever he says every day, and you got Nancy Pelosi calling him morbidly obese. How does that help? How does that help anything?
It's a barb.
Yeah, but
It's no different. It's no different than the barbs he throws out every single day on tweets when he attacks people.
I think it is because she throws herself in with the lions, and she's not a lion. She's
right, exactly.
She's lesser.
A dove.
She's a cub, yeah.
A dove.
A dove, yeah.
Yeah, she's not. She's not. She's not made of Teflon.
No, she's got she goes in a different sort of muck than a guy like that does. He's Teflon. He just doesn't give a fuck. And like, when are these people gonna figure it out that nothing can be done except wait him out because they pick somebody he has dementia, dude. The guy,
Sure.
Yeah, Biden has dementia, and he says things like, "You ain't." What was the quote? "You ain't black if you vote for. You ain't really black if you vote for Trump." Like, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? Yeah. That's to me. That's more offensive than most of what he said.
Demented people voted for Biden.
Yeah.
Did you have a choice? The real choice. No, you didn't have a choice.
No.
Because basically people in this country are afraid of real change.
Yes. Except the young people that just walk and like go and on their phones texting while they're rioting, and then 2 months later when the country opens up, they'll have forgotten about it. Not the white people anyways. Not the black people, but most of these people will just move on. They'll just move on.
Ho-hum. I was there in Minneapolis. Ho-hum.
Yeah, exactly. Got a tattoo. Memories, baby. Woo! I mean,
woo-woo.
I don't know which... I don't know what I hate more. Seeing, like, a city burn, or seeing people go on spring break when coronavirus was starting out. And it's just like, do you not care about anything? Is that what being young is about?
I would say the callousness and the promotion of narcissistic values within this culture brings things like the spring breakers.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it is probably worse. I just hate to see, like, I mean, us holding up. Are we still holding up signs? Why? We have hashtags now. We don't need fucking signs. You spend 30 minutes writing "No justice, no peace," and you're some dude named Kyle from St. Paul adjacent, whatever, and you fucking like hold up a sign that says "No justice, no peace." Okay, it gets on TV, but what does it really do?
Well, good question. Because that saying goes back to Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
He basically said, well, I mean, we had massive riots all across this country
68.
after he was killed.
Was it 68 or I got the year right? Yeah, 68.
68, yeah.
Like in Detroit and elsewhere, Watts and
well,
both
that
those...
was the birth. That was the people lived much closer together after that. That was really the birth of the modern suburbs.
Well, white flight.
Damn right.
I mean,
nothing like it.
Nothing like it. I mean, what are you gonna do? And then there's like people like Ice Cube, great music, but what he was saying, like something's coming or whatever. Like, oh, you mean like you also leaving your community too? Making a bunch of money on white movies and then saying whatever you want on a tweet. What's a tweet? What's a tweet if you're someone like that can actually go and make real change? What's a goddamn tweet?
Nothing.
Exactly, nothing. These tweets are nothing. Like,
yeah.
We have this...
I mean...
Go ahead, sorry.
We have daily... I mean, this presidency is unique in the sense that there's one daily outrage after another.
It distracts from what's actually going on. People spend 4 years angry and not actually developing networks to improve things on their side or develop alternatives, like an alternative Republican running or something. Nope. It's great. Great.
No. The boys club stays. The alternative to the other alternative that the Republicans came up with was the Tea Party candidates.
It worked.
Or even who are even further to the
Well,
right.
I mean, I think I've said this before, not on the show, but to one of my friends, my writing partner especially, like, Republicans just want to win harder than the Democrats do. They just, they'll back anybody. And they'll back him.
Right.
They will actually back him or her, and they'll fucking do it, and then they'll stay married to it.
Well, liberals can't agree on anything.
No, they're infighting. I see it on. I'm sure you've seen this with some of your friends on like Facebook, and like I see it all the time. Like this. The implication that someone else that agrees with them on most things is not woke enough because a temporary issue that pops up stirs their honeypot, and they're so upset. It's like and they go. Then they get so upset. And what do? Not about it, nothing. Sign a petition and then go watch The Office. Just keep doing that way, people. Just go ahead.
Right. I had somebody sit there and get a little debatey on me.
Yeah.
When I said Sherman was a great general, when the whole Charlottesville went on, they're like, "Oh, why did you lose the war then?" It's like the industrialized North, and this was, and I stopped him, and I said, or I stopped the person.
Sherman won, dude.
No.
Sherman won. You talking about Robert E. Lee?
Robert E. Lee, excuse me.
It was like Sherman burned them motherfuckers.
Yeah. He burned, except for Macon, Georgia. Evidently, he had a girlfriend there. So.
Oh, he had a piece of ass over there. Huh?
City. Yeah, exactly.
Well, classy.
Yeah. Classic, more like it. Oh, I'm leaving this alone.
Yeah.
My fucking squeeze will get mad at me.
My fucking squeeze.
Yep, exactly. My little filly will get mad at me. Anyhow, so there's a little debate going on there, and this is Charlottesville, and I'm not on a keyboard, and this was around the time that, my dad was still alive. He had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And then, my sister had passed from her suicide shit. And, I basically wound up telling them, I'm like, call me. I'll explain what's exactly going on in my life right now.
Right.
And I explained it right there, and they're like, okay, I'll lay off.
Right. And the thing is, like, there's always something going on in people's lives, and they don't owe you an immediate response for anything in any context. No one does. Because everyone has to deal with the beast inside, and sometimes major things go on, like what was happening in your life. Like, not the best time in your life. And that someone wants to debate that Robert E. Lee was a bad general, like, was he on the wrong side? Yeah. Unless you believe in perpetuating slavery, then he was on the right side. But
right.
Militarily he was good. That's why they fucking named everything after him in Virginia and elsewhere. Like, they still have to name change the names on these things.
A lot of those were put up in the 50s.
Yeah.
At the height of the KKK.
Oh yeah.
And everybody knew who the Brotherhood was and stuff like that. They would march right down the streets. There were thousands of them. Yeah. Now there's very limited because everybody's pretty much gone underground. Like, oh well, we have a bad name now.
They've gone digital. I mean, they can start new organizations. Is the massive downside of social networking? The FBI has to have entire task forces that mine the dark web and stuff to like stop the next terror groups, domestic terror groups or hate groups, like, and you have Black Lives Matter, but they're not a hate group. But it doesn't mean that some people won't develop another group that is like pretends to be an offshoot of that, but that is extremely militant and dangerous. Like, it's just going to happen, and they have to, the FBI have to like track both sides of the aisle.
Well, that's why you have organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah.
They've gone out of their way to pretty much investigate and but pretty much lay it out on the line who are the hate groups in this country.
Yeah, do they do it both sides?
Oh, of course.
That's good. Yeah, because they don't. I mean, the last thing they want to do, I imagine, is be lumped in with, or let a hate group slide by just because they had the same politics aside from the racial politics and everything. Because that would be tragic. I mean, it's going to happen, but it will be tragic, and it is tragic when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the Nation of Islam is definitely in there as far as a hate group. Now, I mean, they may do, it's oddly enough, they may do some good for the community and stuff like that, but the overall, they're a black separatist movement.
Yeah.
They want their we don't want whitey's help anymore. We want our own land.
Where?
We want to be left. I don't know.
Right? Like, okay, so wait, in America? Yeah, good luck with that.
Well,
there's North Dakota. There's parts of South Dakota. That's it.
Right. Right. And, how many people are willing to sit there and go back to, 40 acres and a mule?
Right. And parts of Africa, they're not going to take people.
No.
The ship on that had long since sailed. Like, I love that that's the production company name for Spike Lee, though. I think it's a nice reminder that was once a proposal, and it's just like keeps it in the forefront. But it's a pipe dream.
Right. You had Richard Sterling, on the other hand, proposing the same thing, that there should be like a separation of the races.
Richard Sterling? Where was he from?
No, Richard Spencer.
Oh, Richard Spencer. Okay. I was like, you mean Donald Sterling, the former Clippers owner?
No, not that lunatic. He was proposing, a Eurocentric, colony to separate from the other races.
Yeah.
And this is the leader of the alt-right. Now he sits there and plays all these different, language games.
Mm-hmm. But,
and when he was interviewed, I saw one of his interviews with David Pakman, and David Pakman has all kinds of, folks come on his show and whatnot. When I saw the interview, all he was doing was playing language games to get around the Nazi label. But this is the founder of the alt-right.
Yeah. I mean, the Nazi label, it's like, come up with something else, though. It diminishes your argument when you're like, Nazi, no one takes it seriously. That shit is over. So come up with a different label that besides Nazi or alt-right. Like, because you mentioned, language is important. Language is important. And when people throw the word Nazi out there, you're a Nazi, he's a Nazi, everyone's a Nazi. No one takes it seriously.
Well, they do on the right.
What do you mean?
Oh, the Nazi, the feminazi. That's where the term comes from. It comes from Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, feminazi? Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, can you use language that's creative and disparaging at the same time without evoking Nazism? No, you can't, because you're stupid. Your arguments are fucking stupid.
Well, it's limited, it's cognitive dissonance at its best.
Yeah. Definitely, man.
Once you're sitting there limiting yourself to this, vocabulary of hate, all you have to do are hateful messages.
Yeah.
Or angry messages.
You ever meet a Klansman before? Have you ever met a Klansman before or a member of a hate group?
Yes.
I did too. On a train, I talked to this guy. I tried to have a couple Budweisers with these guys, and they were truckers. And this was like 15 years ago. I was going to East Lansing to see cousin Jenny's graduation, and I was like trying to talk to these guys, and all of a sudden we get in this conversation, and I was like, I don't know how I can get out of this conversation. Like, I shouldn't have sat with these people. These people are clearly fucking nuts. And because one of them was like, yeah, I used to see this tattoo, and he pointed to me. It had like, it was like a faded like K, and he's like, that's Royal Ku Klux Klan. I was like, okay. And he's like, I grew up in it because my grandfather was a dragon. I was like, or a wizard, or whatever they call it. I think a dragon.
Grand Wizard.
Grand Wizard. Okay. And he was from Indiana. I mean, it's very prevalent there, from my understanding. And he tells me like, what's that?
Some of the foundations come from Indianapolis. Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy says that when he hits 18, he's like, oh, I decided to get out. I was like, that's great. Yeah, because I had black friends. I was like, I almost put my hands on my head. Like, how do you fucking possibly have black friends if you're in the Klan and you're a teenager in the Klan and you have black friends? Like, it just, the dissonance, like you mentioned, the dissonance was so outrageous. And just when I was about to like, not embrace him, but like, look, man, I'm really proud of you for making that transition. He's like, yeah. He's like, so I got this joke. I was like, oh God, it's gonna be a race joke, and it was. Immediately, he turns out to me and decide what makes you think a stranger is gonna want to hear your race joke after you told him you got out of the Klan.
Let's put it this way. My very first experience with racism. I was riding back from San Diego, California, and I was paired up with this black guy named John, who's going to Saginaw, Michigan.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going back home. Here to DeWitt.
Yeah.
I'm 18. I'm a flunky Marine.
Yeah.
And we just got some beers and we're talking and stuff like that. We get off the bus in, I think it was someplace in Nebraska.
Mm.
The whole room was staring at us.
In the bus terminal? The bus terminal?
No, it was at a McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
The whole room was staring at us. I never felt so stared at in my entire life.
Is it because you two were together, you think? Or is it because he was black? Or, I mean, it's obviously both to some degree. Yeah.
Both. And I said, oh, this is what it feels like.
Yeah. God, that's fucking awful, man. And that's just a microcosm of what it must be like.
Oh, yeah. That's a nanosecond of it.
Yeah, when I got in trouble with the police, nothing happened to me.
Yeah, I remember in high school. I mean, I went to a very small high school. Everybody would go, oh, there's a black student. We're going to have a black student. Oh, I wonder what they're going to be like.
Like a person. An individual.
Right, exactly.
With dark skin. Or light-ish skin.
No, as long as they were preppy, they got the green light.
Yeah.
If they had an edge to them at all,
Yeah.
And and that's just coming out of street inner city culture.
Of course. Yeah. Jeez, man. Fucking, this world is a dark place. Like, they're still sort of rallying and rooting and tooting and across the country right now. That's great.
Yeah. Well, you had a CNN reporter get arrested.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, and he was black too.
Well, duh.
Yeah. Anderson Cooper's not going to get chained up for that shit.
No, he's not. Anderson Cooper's not going to be out on the front line.
He's got a new
either.
baby or something. There's no way he's going to be doing that shit. He's an anchor.
The only thing he ever did, he read off the names of the dead people at the Orlando nightclub.
Yeah.
That the hater. I mean, that was god awful.
That's pretty powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
There's something about the names and the faces that you're just like, you're putting the human element into a human tragedy. Like, you're actually doing something about it.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's the same thing. If there wasn't video of this, there wouldn't be as much outrage.
No, I mean, I'm glad there was video, but I wish that the person taking the video would have just fucking got involved and started something right there. Worth the arrest because you save a life. But again, it's not fair to that person to try to step in their shoes. Oh, I would do this. I'm not hard. I'm not a badass. Like, I don't know what I would have done. I would have said something, but that might not have done anything.
Number one, at a point, once you're interfering with police business, they can arrest you on that charge alone.
Yeah, I know, but
it's a form. They'll charge you with obstruction.
I'd rather have the obstruction charge that a lawyer could get me out of than having the guilt on my soul the rest of my life that I watched something and it did nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it felt like when I sat there and there was that shootout across the street from my house.
Yeah.
I wanted to go out and help the guy because I didn't see what happened. My roommate wouldn't let me.
Good. I'm glad he didn't because I might not be talking to you right now.
Yeah.
Catch some stray bullets in your fucking head, you're done. For what?
Right.
You didn't know what was going on. It's one thing if you know what's going on and you can take a calculated risk. You know?
Well, this was way after the fact, after all the shooting was done. And I'm laying on the ground, and I'm sitting there and look outside, and there's a guy laying on the ground, and I see African American get on the phone calling, and I wanted to go outside, and my roommate wouldn't let me. It's like, no. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, you didn't know if the shots were done. You didn't fully know that.
Well, you didn't know. Well, you didn't. Right, exactly. You didn't know what was going to happen next.
That's fucking crazy, man.
It was so fucking loud.
Yeah.
It's like.
That's what I hear.
Having lived in West Oakland for 6 years, I know what it's like to be in a war zone now.
Oh yeah, just the constant threat of it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is the weird thing was, as long as you minded your own business, no one fucked with you.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's how things should be. But I mean, it would be nice if there were less neighborhoods that felt unsafe in this country, and that's a whole nother conversation probably. But it would be great to not have to make a certain amount of money just to be safe or feel safe, because
right.
And even we're not even fully safe. You go to a public place like a mall or like a school, you could get shot up in this America, and there's a lot of problems, man. We're so fucked right now.
Well, I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, take away the guns," and you've got plenty of law-abiding citizens. You just got a lot of nuts too. You got a lot of loose cannons who don't fucking care.
Yeah, I feel. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's a very juvenile. It's a very juvenile culture in the sense of oh yeah, I die. If I go, I'm just gonna take a bunch of people out with me. Yeah. I mean, I had to
Yeah.
listen to that shit the other day from a woman.
Whoa, how messed up was she?
She's got heart condition and shit like that. She's like, oh, well, I don't have anything to live for. I was like,
What the fuck?
okay.
I mean, honestly, like, it sounds like her fault.
Duh, you think?
I mean, the vast majority of the time, if you feel like you don't have anything to live for, it's probably your fault. Because you and I have tremendous empathy for, despite what I just said, for people that are struggling emotionally, mentally. But at the same time, if you do nothing about it, then it's your fault. If you do nothing about it, I'm not saying you're going to have this great life if you do something about it. No, it might get worse for a while. Because it's like, it's real, but at least it's real. It's not bullshit.
Well, you know, I just listened to her. I didn't say anything.
How'd you know her?
Huh?
How'd you know her?
Oh, I know her through my boss.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of which, he hasn't called me yet.
Are you supposed to go out tonight? Do some driving?
Yeah, at about supposed to be at 4, but I don't know. The last time we were really fucking late. We headed out at like 6:30, and we didn't get all the packages delivered. We were like a half hour late on getting one of the shipments.
Oh, that sucks. Man, I've been there, man. The delivery world.
So I don't know. Shit, I don't know if he even has a job with these people anymore.
It's a bump in the grind, man. Bump in the grind.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing about it is, it was extra cash for me, so it's something I was looking forward to.
Yeah. I mean, you can use it for, just what's up money or fucking music stuff. Like, something, part of your equipment goes awry, you can replace it. Things like that. I mean, it's always good to make a little extra cash doing something that's comfortable, despite your back and depression, like, combining to be a pain in the ass. Like, it's hard, dude. We need to talk about, like, a whole thing with, like, mental health, like, especially when Patrice comes back, like, because he deals with these things too, and it's like, it informs so much of your choices and your. Are you familiar with the term experiential avoidance?
Exponential avoidance?
No, experiential avoidance, like avoiding certain experiences or paths to other experiences because you're trying to avoid pain.
That's exactly what happened to my sister.
Yeah.
She was a chronic avoider. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
You understand that. You come from, a similar alcoholic background.
Right.
My dad made tepid drinks. It wasn't like my mom and my dad were partiers.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination. My sister got into that stuff pretty early back in the day, and I didn't have any qualms with it.
No, well, we didn't know much about it. Really? Like, they don't tell you about the mental aspect of it. Like, oh, you can be an alcoholic. But then it's like, okay, then what? I drink all the time? Okay. I like it. But you don't like it. Your brain, part of your brain likes it, and the rest of you hates it. You need it to plug the hole so you don't feel the pain all day long, but you feel it later in the morning, and you're like, oh, it's just a hangover. Like, no, that's just your amplified brain.
The same thing if you're desperate enough for attention.
Yeah.
You go do things that are, destructive. Whether you're paying for a blowjob from a whore or what. Yeah,
I mean, it's better to get them for free, but then you're still putting all the work in to, like, meet somebody. Make sure you're on the same level, that you're both comfortable with just maybe hooking up, or maybe one of you hooks up thinking that there could be something else there, and then there fucking clearly isn't. Usually happens to the women that they're like, oh, I'll just do this. And nope, the guy just fucking splits because he got what he wanted. And everyone loses. Well, everybody loses. America, where everyone loses.
Well.
Yep.
nobody that's again, nobody wants to take a chance.
But with their heart? No, because, like, I don't know, man. I think it's like a gun. You have at most 6 in the chamber, right? Chances at a heartache were the ones that you're really going for, the moves in life that you really wanted, and you decide to go. You have to decide to go for them. But there's only so many you can go for before you just feel like you're done and can't get up that hill again and really put your heart into it. It's like jumping out of a parachute, man. You just you land wherever you land, and then you have to get up, and there's another mountain to climb. And it's like, do I really want to do this, or do I want to find a comfort zone, or do I want to just punch out of here completely? Like, it's hard, but people have to find ways to take those chances and not get stuck in experiential avoidance, like I've done, like others have done, because your anxiety is going to be there regardless. You might as well take a chance because it doesn't matter. If you're going to feel bad anyways, it doesn't matter. Take the chance.
See, my thing was just, experimenting with stuff.
Yeah. Experiences or drugs or.
Well, yeah, with anything. I mean, it was just, I knew where to draw the line. I'm like, no needles. No way.
No needles.
I'm not doing that shit.
No, fuck that. I don't actually know anyone that. No, I do. I do know people that have experimented with needles, and all of them that I know of have kicked it, but they might be lying to me. I don't know. I don't fucking know. It's a scary world, dude. What's that?
Never trust a junkie.
No. I mean, when I used to gamble a lot more, like, I wasn't that trustworthy, and that was being a junkie too. You tend to like make little white lies that don't mean anything, but they add up and they become part of your character.
My friend Dave Campbell said this the best. He said when I look straight, that's when I was the most dishonest.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna read something my friend wrote. It's gonna be cool. So part of it is a couple quotes from Watchmen, all right, and the quoted parts are from Rorschach. You remember that Watchmen?
Oh yeah, of course.
All right, so here we go.
You're not locked in. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Let's see. Looked at sky through smoke heavy with human fat, and God was not there. The cold, suffocating dark goes on forever, and we are alone. Live our lives, lacking anything better to do. Devise reason later. Born from oblivion, bear children, hellbound as ourselves, go into oblivion. There is nothing else. So that was Rorschach. And now here is Joe. Here we find ourselves again, deep within the bowels of sweet descent. The masses corroded to the point of no return, finally saying, fuck it. We have been waiting for someone, to pull us out from the intoxicating stink of desecration, and for too long, we've gone unanswered. We've looked to extremes for anything, anyone, for help, and we're still left choking on the ashes of disdain. When will the fog that has descended upon our existence lift? It is only a matter of time before this turns into something righteously evil, truly deserved. Because right now, it's simply an itch, a sore that begs to be ripped open further, curiosity causing far more pain than ignorance ever could. If only it was the healing of physical wounds that we needed. You can't put a Band-Aid on the holes in our souls. You can't repair complete and utter emptiness and despair. We want to taste the blood of the rich, to devour their God-forsaken existences. We want to rain napalm down upon the capitalist pigs and watch them burn in front of their indoctrinated children. Not until we've seen their women and youth beg for forgiveness will we start to feel something. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. It's time we march into their gated communities, pull them from their beds, and skin them alive, hang their flesh in the streets as an example. We will no longer be fucking manipulated. We will no longer be controlled. We are the 99%, and we will pillage the 1% until there is nothing left. We cry out for superheroes, but we are only given villains. And then there's another quote from Rorschach, which I won't read, but obviously he was in a mood when he wrote that. I don't condone burning things or skinning people alive, but I understand the sentiments, right?
It's not antiseptic.
No. It won't do anything. They could do everything in this fucking passage you wrote and still would change nothing. Meet the
Well,
new boss, same as the old boss.
right. But you know, we tried. They tried a peaceful revolution, and the peaceful revolutions have worked better or have won more than
Uprising.
violent
It just takes longer. It takes a lot longer, and sometimes it ends with the leaders getting killed.
Americans don't have the patience.
No, of course not. Like hashtag world, man. Look, these people are. They put down their TikTok for one night, but they're filming their protests. It's like white people just filming their protests. I don't understand why you. Who cares that you were there? You're not any better than me, or you're not any better than you.
Well, when I was at a Trump rally,
Mm-hmm.
his last one before he became president, I brought a tape recorder along to record the thing. And, you know, I sat there right behind the media table or prompt where CNN and a bunch of other outlets were. And then all hell, I went there out of curiosity. I had volunteered for Hillary's campaign because there was free food.
That's about the only reason to do it, man. She sucked. They both were so terrible. Ugh.
Well, they're friends of each other too.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, don't let the he never prosecuted her.
No, of course not. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, of course. Anyways, yeah, I agree with your buddy's statement.
Yeah.
You know, it would have to take something extreme.
Yeah, like going after the companies, like going after the big ones, and going in their headquarters with a violent mob. You know, it's like that's what it actually takes to do something like that. Unless you're gonna have multiple, not just one, multiple guys as good as MLK was at uniting people. Because we've done a great job with the last two administrations of dividing people. Because look what's happening now.
That's why they killed John Lennon. At that point, he was the last one who could unite the people.
He couldn't even keep the Beatles together, dude.
That was Paul's fault.
You can't handle Paul McCartney. You can't handle global revolution. Good music, though.
He had a billion people tune in to him and Yoko Ono's laying in bed for peace.
I'd like to lay in bed for peace.
A billion people tuned into that. So, I mean, yeah, the Beatles' last album, they weren't even in the studio with one another. They just did it separately because they could. Nobody was talking to one another.
Yeah.
You know.
For Abbey Road?
I mean, yeah.
Damn, dude. The Beatles. Who's going to unite the world now, man?
6 records.
Post Malone? What do we got? Who we got? Taylor Swift talking about Trump. Like, no, what person above the age of 22 is going to listen to fucking Taylor Swift?
Right.
Not her music. Her music, no complaints. No complaints. Taylor Swift, the activist, nah, I'm not buying it. Not buying it.
She's got long legs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these boots are made for walking, man. She should cover that. Actually, a good song.
I don't think she's all that.
She's fine.
I know all the studio tricks she does and stuff like that. Yeah. I know all the studio tricks they do.
You ever hear St. Vincent? She's good. She's solid.
I love St. Vincent.
I saw her 2 years ago in concert. It was fucking amazing. Like, I respect the shit out of her art. Like, oh my god, so good. But yeah, man, you got some. What's that?
You ever hear Amy Mann?
No, I haven't.
I went and saw her play live. Miss Till Tuesday voices Carrie.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know her name.
Yeah. She's out of Boston, so.
Voices Carrie.
Mm-hmm. Hush, hush.
Keep it down now. Voices Carrie.
Yeah, I saw her play twice, so.
That's fucking great, man. See, music. After this, I'm gonna just listen to some music and veg out and try not to watch the Riots, but probably watch the Riots. What about you?
Well, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go down in the studio and fuck around.
All right, we're gonna go fuck around and try to create a better world with our art. And thanks for tuning in to Degenerate Nation's very much not degenerate episode.
Turn the TV off.